He is the man who is the man. There's no other way to put it. And we at NFL Network, in what we now call the talent evaluation portion of our calendar, we take our cues from this man. Not only from his information, but the way he goes about it. That he tells you what he thinks, and he doesn't think or quote-unquote know he's right. That this is an art, obviously, figuring out, and a science as to who to draft, and it can take years to figure out what we know. He will just tell you what he sees and what he believes. And we take our cue from that. And that's why we love him. And I'm going to stop talking about him like he's not on the phone line listening. Mike Mayock here on The Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Michael?
I'm pretty good, Rich. I put the over-under on your 40 this year. It's 6.09, just so you know.
Wow, Mike. I mean, where's the love? Where's the trust that I will come correct this year?
Well, I think you'll come correct. But like a lot of visibly aging wide receivers in the NFL, time waits for no man.
Who would you equate me with? I mean, we're just looking at my tape.
Steve Smith. You're cranky. You're cantankerous. you're handle. You're hard to work off the field. But when you come proper.
Okay.
Ready to go.
I'll take it because I think he's a Hall of Famer. So I'll take it. I'll take that, Mike.
Right.
So let's get down to business here. Before we get to the kids that we should be targeting or looking at, there's a lot of conversation about the Combine's future itself and the skills and the tests that are on the field, and the Belichicks of the world complaining that kids are now just preparing for the Combine and not really getting football ready. Would you make changes to the scouting Combine if you were in charge, Mike?
I probably would. I would make some changes both to the Combine and to the All-Star games. I mean, if the bottom line of this whole process is to evaluate football players, which it should be, a guy by the name of Mike Mamula kind of changed the whole Combine. And he's the first one that kind of publicly went out and trained for the Combine, had a monster Combine, and the Philadelphia Eagles traded up ahead. They traded up in the first round and ignored Warren Sapp and took Mike Mamula. And the guy blew up the Combine. And everybody since then has been training for these specific drills. And I think Coach Belichick's point is, why are we worried about three cones and change of pace? And we all know it's good for evaluation, but everybody's training for these things. We've got all kinds of people telling us how you can do in 3 steps or 2.5, run the L drill. And I think what Coach Belichick is saying is, let's concentrate on becoming better football players, not running these track things. And I agree with that piece of it. And I take a step further. I wouldn't want everybody training for the same specific drill. And the scouts will tell you, Rich, they like that, because if everybody's training for the same drill, then you're going to see the best athlete with the best times.
So when you say the All-Star team games, you mean like East-West Shrine and Senior Bowl and things of that nature. So what would you change specifically?
With the All-Star games, all these rules, you can only do single high. You can't do any twists or stunts. You can't bring a linebacker. You can't. They have all these rules, and basically they make it so vanilla because they want to see kids react without having to think. But what happens is they miss the kids that are quicker thinkers, that are more instinctive players, because they're making it so vanilla for everybody. So I would also incorporate juniors, and that's the biggest change. If we're really going to do this thing, and juniors declare by January 15th, then let's keep 15 spots or so available for juniors in the Senior Bowl.
Now, what would you do at the scouting combine? There's talk that they have a whole host of drills, but they spring it on the kids that they don't know which they have to train for a bunch of drills, but they don't know which drills they will actually be called upon to do on combine drill day. Would you be up for something like that, Mike?
I would love that. And again, the scouts want, and I'm guessing, but if you ask Bill Polian, I think Bill Polian would say, we've got 25 or 30 years of verifiable facts and figures that we can compare these numbers against. So why would we ever change it? And I get that, and a part of me really likes that. However, I get so tired of just these kids training for the same thing that I would love to see how kids react when something new gets thrown at them. Can they pick it up quickly, and how efficiently can they run the drill?
Now, what would you think about posting 40 times up? You know, you and I talk about it every year where we sit there, wait for both groups to finish till we figure out what an official 40 time is. What about just letting these kids race? What about that idea?
What do you mean?
Just put them in 40-yard dash, put the time right up on the screen.
Oh, yeah. Look,
and race them.
If we're going to open this thing up like we did to the NFL Network several years ago, and we're going to release results, let's not be half naked. Let's go full Monty. Let's just put it out there and go, because that's what it is. Mm-hmm. It's a competition, and I would love to see. Remember when Calvin Johnson threw the shoes on?
Oh, yeah.
You remember that day?
Oh, sure.
I would love to see some of these guys look up at the big board and see that somebody just ran 4.38, and the next guy who knows he's competing with him for a draft pick go, wow, I need to beat 4.38. That puts some pressure on them.
Sure.
And that's what it's all about.
But what's the scouting? What's the pushback? What's the other side of the equation? I'm sure you hear that. Why do they not do that?
I think they're trying to keep I don't think they want to embarrass kids. So that if a wide receiver jumps up there and runs 4.68, you know how we only post the top 10 times or whatever?
Yeah.
It's so we don't embarrass the other kids.
Yeah, but we're not far off. I mean, Casserly's up there with his hand time, and we're not that far off. So the times are putting, times are. I know
I'm with you, Rich. I'm 100% with you. But the theory is that if we throw that thing up on the board and the kid runs a wide out runs 4.7, then next year a wide receiver might not run for fear of that.
Mike Mayock joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. All right, let's get to the kids. The best class would be what? What are you thinking? Looking at the film right now on the tape.
As far as position?
Yeah. What do you think?
Oh, it's not. It's a phenomenal defensive class in general, much better than the offensive class, and the defensive tackle group, the interior defensive linemen, are the best I've seen in recent memory. And I mean, to put a number on it, Rich, there are 10 to 12 defensive tackles that may have a first-round grade from some team. 10 to 12. Mm-hmm. There'll be probably four typically go in the first round. And what that means is that you're going to get in the third and fourth round this year, and there are going to be defensive tackles still available that would have been first or second rounders in other years.
No kidding. So this kid that you like at the interior line, DeForest Buckner, is being thrown out there as maybe number one overall. What do you think?
I think he's special. I think he's a stud. I think he's 6'8", 295. He can play up and down the defensive line of scrimmage. He's nasty. He's tough. He's powerful. He's got a little Reggie White hump move that's friggin' awesome. 8 to 10 years from now, I think he'll be one of the guys that we'll be looking back at that will be in the conversation for the best defensive player that comes out of this draft.
No kidding. Wow. So let's talk on the offensive side of the ball here now, because I know you're not a low-hanging fruit guy, and a lot of people were all over Carson Wentz when the season ended with North Dakota State. But you have him number one on your quarterback draft board. What do you like about this kid?
Yeah, I think the conversation right now, Rich, the quarterback position is, the first piece of it is, some people are Wentz guys, some people are Goff guys around the league. And if you're a Goff guy, it's because he's more polished and ready to go day one. He's got beautiful pocket awareness, really good feet. The ball comes out quickly with a quick release. He's accurate with good arm strength. So if you're Cleveland at 2 and you're looking for a quarterback ready to go day one, he's the more logical guy today. I look at Carson Wentz at 6'5.5", 235. He's as good or better an athlete than Andrew Luck. He's got a big arm. He's been under center. He's only started 23 games, and people are going to kill him for being in the Division I AA program. But I see a guy that 2 to 3 years from now, the ceiling is unlimited. So I have him as number one because I love his upside. I'm scared to death that we rarely develop quarterbacks in our league anymore, which makes me worry. But it's Goff or Wentz, depending on what you're looking for today. Then it's Paxton Lynch from Memphis, who reminds me of Joe Flacco coming out of Delaware. He's got a big arm. I spent 3 hours with him last week in Orlando watching tape with him and watching him throw the ball. And then the fourth guy with potential first-round talent is Connor Cook. But, Rich, people are questioning a lot of stuff about him, and I think he's taken on some water already, and I think he made a mistake in not playing in the Senior Bowl.
No kidding. So, because I know there's the leadership question, the way he took the trophy from Archie Griffin after the Big Ten championship game. These are the whispers you're already hearing about Connor Cook. You're saying some of the stuff sticking to him right now?
Yeah, and Rich, I really think that as long as there wasn't an injury, and he had a shoulder thing late in the season, but he had accepted the Senior Bowl and then declined after that. And I really felt like he could have dealt with a lot of this stuff in Mobile and gotten it over with. So he could have come to the Combine clean and ready to compete. And he should have, in my opinion, and this is more important to me than the other stuff, is why wouldn't he want to go stand next to Carson Wentz and show this kid from North Dakota State that I'm better than you? I mean, again, it's competition. That's what we're looking for. The guy never had 60% or more completion in any year in college. There's the whole captain thing. All this stuff, I would have loved to just see the kid come to the Senior Bowl and say, guess what, folks? I'm the number one quarterback in this draft, and here's why. And when he didn't do that, I think he just opens himself up to more conversation.
Mike Mayock here on the Rich Eisen Show. A couple minutes left with you. Which Ohio State kids would you say, if you had to choose one to have the most stellar career in the NFL right now, which Ohio State kid we're going to see this weekend would you choose, Mike?
Well, it would have to be either Ezekiel Elliott or Joey Bosa, who both of whom I think have top 10 talent. Whether they go there or not is a different question, but they're both outstanding at what they do, and I'll be stunned if they don't have great careers.
And Elliott, that whole business with him calling out Urban Meyer, that's not going to affect his draft stock, is it? At all?
Not at all, and I think he'll learn from that. And to be honest with you, Rich, I watched that tape recently. The Michigan, he only had, 13 carries, 31 yards, something like that.
Yeah.
I came away after that tape liking him even more because even though he was frustrated and pissed off, he was blocking people. He was knocking down defenders. I thought it was great. So I came out of that tape liking him more.
That's Michigan State, but against Michigan, I'm sure you liked him a lot. I mean, he's truly incredible. Elliott is incredible, and next level stuff. Which kid are we not talking about that we should be going into the Combine? Last one for you, Mike. Which one do you like? If you give me a host of them, if you want.
I'll tell you about a couple of positions. I mean, Sterling Shepard from Oklahoma. It's not a good wideout draft, Rich. Laquan Treadwell is the number one guy. Corey Coleman and Will Fuller are going to run 4.3 something probably. But who's going to step up? And can Josh Doxson run? I mean, the wide receiver thing is really confusing to me right now. We're going to, who's the number 2 running back? It's got to be Derrick Henry, I would assume. And we're going to be intrigued by what he runs at 240 pounds. And that whole defensive line thing is going to take off. Noah Spence, the defensive end, outside linebacker from Eastern Kentucky with off-the-field issues, Rich, and Robert Kimdichie, who, if you go off his Alabama tape by itself and forget he's got off-the-field issues and inconsistency on the field, he's the number 1 pick in the draft. That's how much talent he has.
Wow.
So we got a big week coming up, Rich. And there's so many storylines. I wish we had an hour to talk about them right now.
Well, we're going to have way too much time this weekend. You know that, Mike. I mean, last time we did this, you went Rapper's Delight. You went Rapper's Delight, Mike.
Actually, I went
M-A-S-A-T-E-R, a G with a double E.
Yeah, this happened.
About the unforgettable name of the
I mean, and who knew that was a gateway to Twitter for you, Mike? Who knew? Look at you. This is the first time you're going to be on Twitter on NFL.
What do you mean? Me and my buddy George Clinton?
Yeah.
Talking about that?
Yes. Who knew? At Mike Mayock.
I'm a little pissed. I mean, my daughter tells me she only did my Twitter account for one day, Rich.
Uh-huh.
Thanksgiving, the first day I went on, and she tells me she got 45,000 followers, and I've been doing it ever since, and I only have another 25,000.
Look, let's put it this way, Mike. Trust me, I'm sure you're aware of this. We haven't had our meeting yet. There will be a lot of Ask at Mike Mayock moments during our coverage. Your Twitter,
God.
your Twitter's about to explode, Mike. Don't you worry. Look at your
Contain the
numbers.
excitement, Mike.
Yeah, you could sense the excitement. Oh, God.
What was that?
No, we could sense your excitement. We could sense it. I'll see you Friday, Mike. We'll see you soon.
You got it, man. See ya.
You bet. That's at Mike Mayock.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.